let's talk first about Donald J. Trump and Kim Jong-un. So Kim Jong-un has had for some time nuclear ambitions for North Korea, and he said in his inaugural New Year's address, he declared that the country would soon be testing an intercontinental ballistic missile. He said that they will soon be testing an intercontinental ballistic missile, and these missiles have a long enough range for them to threaten the U.S. mainland territory in theory. And it's a major step forward, according to Eric Talmadge of the AP, Associated Press. It's a major step forward. Obviously, ICBMs is always a big step forward for nuclear ambitions. This is Kim Jong-un's fifth year as a leader. He's picked up right where his dad left off, and this was in his Sunday's New Year's Eve address to the nation. So clearly, this is Kim Jong-un speaking to the world, and not so much his people. His people are starving. His people would probably benefit from spending all the money that he's spending on nuclear ambitions on food and their economy. But I digress. So he's speaking to the world, letting the world know that he has nuclear, not only nuclear ambitions, but they've built a bomb, and now they're looking to get ICBMs. He said that after preparations for launching an ICBM have reached the final stage, and according to his speech, it said, quote, "The political and military position of socialism should be further cemented as an invisible fortress. We should resolutely smash the enemy's despicable and vicious moves to dampen the pure and ardent desire of the people for the party and estrange the people from it." I don't know what the hell that kind of word salad, what the fuck that even means. Sorry, but he sounds like the madman that he is. He dropped socialism in there. They're no more a socialist state than China is a communist state, but they are an isolated state, and that's what makes them dangerous. They have very little to lose. The people are poor. They are isolated from the international community. Their only ally is China, which is a powerful ally, and this is where it ties in more directly with Donald Trump. But being an isolated state means that they are less bound to international norms and international stipulations and expectations. We can't look at Kim Jong-un and North Korea as rational actors because they have no vested interest in the international order through which we interpret whether or not someone is rational. You know, we could say that Vladimir Putin is rational because he has a vested interest in the international order. Even though the international order is not the order that the USSR and the KGB and he would have liked during the Cold War, but it is an international order that the oligarchy of Russia has bought into. So we can kind of count on Russia being rational actors. We can count on China being rational actors. They've accepted the international norm. They're getting tremendously wealthy out of the international norms. North Korea is extremely poor, has nothing to benefit from their isolation from this international order. Therefore, we cannot expect them to be rational actors whatsoever. Madman with a nuclear weapon. Not much, well, hyperbolically speaking, not much different than Donald Trump. We'll see how much of a madman he is going to be. So Donald Trump tweets about it. Speaking of, we'll talk about Donald Trump and his damn tweets. Donald Trump, matter of fact, let me write that down before I forget about it. Donald Trump tweets about it, saying that North Korea just stated that it is in the final stages of developing a nuclear weapon capable of reaching parts of the U.S. It won't happen, exclamation point. Then he went on to say in another tweet, China has been taking out massive amounts of money and wealth from the U.S. in totally one-sided trade, but won't help with North Korea. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, China is the only North Korean ally. They are a firm supporter of the country. So it's very likely that if Trump wants a trade war with China, they will be less inclined to cooperate in assisting with North Korea. In actuality, China is probably the only player in the region, in the world, that could put pressure on North Korea. They have not shown a willingness or desire to do so. But as Donald Trump gets ready to come in, and really, it's not just Donald Trump, right? There's a lot of players in the region who have a vested interest in North Korea not getting a weapon. Let's just start there. Now, Donald Trump clearly inflames the situation. Donald Trump clearly has lit the fire underneath a nuclear Cold War, a nuclear arms race, rather. And to the extent that Donald Trump's or the United States expansion of nuclear weapons actually affects the decision making of North Korea, that remains to be seen. But the entire environment around nuclear weapons has been completely turned upside down because of the insanity of Donald Trump. So we can't disconnect the two. However, it's really difficult to draw a direct line between, well, you can't. I don't believe that we could draw a direct line between Donald Trump's tweets on nuclear expansion and North Korea's ambition. But it has created an instability, an unstable factor. And so to that end, there are plenty of powers in the region, or rather not to that end, but anyway, there are plenty of other actors in the region who have a vested interest in North Korea not getting an ICBM. China is going to have to play ball on this. Now, here's the thing. In so many ways, unless we're willing to actually go to war with someone, we can't stop them from getting a nuclear weapon. Period. Let's just make that abundantly clear. Unless we are willing and able to go to war with someone, with a nation, we are not really capable of stopping their nuclear program. This is why the Iran deal was necessary, because all it does is buys us time to bring Iran into the fold, into the international order. We can't stop them unless we're willing to go to war with them. We do have an incoming administration that is more prone to go to war. Fuck the ramifications. Shit, we're in Iraq still. We're in Afghanistan still. They don't care about that shit because the next Democratic president will take responsibility for it. So we do have an administration that's more willing to go to war, and it is a legitimate threat if China does nothing about it. I am interested in seeing how this plays out. Honestly, I'm not going to make a call on this in terms of how I think it's going to play out. I have no idea how it's going to play out. But if we were to do some quote unquote game theory, we would, it's such an inside Twitter joke. But anyway, if we were to play this out, Donald Trump's willingness to go to war could pressure China to put pressure on North Korea. But Donald Trump's willingness to get into a trade war with China could make China be like, deal with it. So really don't know how this plays out, except for it's a strong possibility that North Korea will get nuclear weapons. Now, on the flip side, perhaps this is a rational action, and I've heard a lot of people argue this. Perhaps this is a rational action from North Korea. They've got nothing else. They've got nothing to lose except their lives, and they're already, half the nation is starving in abject poverty. They've clearly, at least the leadership has clearly calculated into their calculus the reality that their actions could lead to war. But I mean, how much more devastated could they? I mean, I guess dead versus devastated is a different measure. But I said all that to say, perhaps this isn't rational action from them. Perhaps them having a nuclear weapon. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just placing myself before anybody runs off and say, "Oh, Ben's advocating for North Korea." Please, we don't be intentionally obtuse. I'm trying to place myself in the role and thinking of how North Korea can actually think this is rational, right? Instead of us just assuming that they're insane. Because if we make the assumption and leave it there that they're insane, then the only way you could deal with an insane person on the international stage, or insane or irrational actor, is through brute force. right? So if we try to place ourselves in the role of North Korea and see what the hell they're thinking they've got nothing to lose. They're thinking they can gain more respect in the international community, and not just respect for the sake of respect us, but respect in the sense of listen to our demands. This is what we want. This is what we expect. They feel like this is going to bring some type of prestige, and with prestige comes economic influence. They feel like that's going to be their route to entering the international order. The question is then, the only thing that really matters, save any type of conflict from Donald Trump taking us to war or whatever, putting all that aside, let's just look at it a very simple equation between North Korea and getting a weapon. The only real question about North Korea getting a weapon is whether or not they're regime change actors. And by regime change, I mean, are they looking to change the international order through their nuclear weapons? Or are they looking to gain access to the international order with their nuclear weapons? In other words, are they using this as a foray, as an entrance into becoming a part of the international community? I can think of the 1,200 other ways they could do that, but perhaps they think this is the most rational way for them to get inside of the international community. Or are they saying they want to rewrite the international order to match something that fits their political ideological tilt? If that's what they want, then we do have a problem on our hand, and the only way to stop them is through force, and that doesn't play out well. So, again, I think the best parallel is with Iran. The people who created the Iran deal clearly believe or have some reason and expectation to believe that delaying Iran's nuclear ambitions for 10 years, which is about all we're doing is delaying it, and relinquishing the sanctions, right? Taking the sanctions off and giving them an opportunity to enjoy wealth and to enjoy a growing and booming economy, that the mindsets of the people will change such that they will become a part of the international order who has a vested interest in not blowing some shit up. The real question is, does North Korea want that, or do they want to change things? And then the second most important, or the very first most important question is, to what extent is Donald Trump actually willing to take us into a conflict with North Korea? Because the only way we're going to stop their nuclear ambitions is by pretty much destroying them. And I don't think it matters if we have the political will as a people. Donald Trump is not going to be 1% concerned about what the American people want like Obama was. Obama didn't take us into Syria because he was actually concerned about what the American people said. Donald Trump is not going to give two shits about that. Donald Trump is going to do whatever makes him feel like he has the bigger dick in the conversation because his hands are so small. So we have a really volatile situation ahead of us.